Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Eckmann of Gould Derby here with Matt Gould, composer of Lempicka. And I previously spoke with your collaborator, Carson Kreitzer, who she conceived this musical idea for Tamara de Lempicka. And she told me that when she met you, she knew that like you had to be her collaborator. So I'm curious on your end, what was it about this opportunity that grabbed you? Did you have that same instinct as her?
Yeah, for me, it was just the paintings. I think Tamara de Lempicka's paintings. I think so many people want to make musicals about so many things, and for me, it's usually a really fast, visceral idea that I get when I see something or hear something where I'm like, I know how to make that a musical. And then some things where I'm like, I have no idea how to make that a musical. So that's probably not my ministry. But yeah, when Carson showed me this book of paintings, um, these paintings just had this perfect, beautiful kind of veneer to them that was so curated and almost like airbrush like. But then you get up close on the people and you see that inside of their eyes, there's just this life that is just below the surface. And then when you start to sort of research Tamara and you find out the era that she was living in, everything about who she was, the fact that she was Jewish, that she was queer, that she was a woman, was a death sentence. She was an artist, was a death sentence for her in Paris in the 30s when the Nazis were rolling into town. Um, and so you start to understand why this perfectly curated outside, but this very alive inside, which is such a dynamic kind of push pull for a musical. Because I think in a musical, you want sort of like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine on the outside. And then the character breaks into song and they're like, I'm dying, I'm losing my mind, my world is falling apart. That's what makes an exciting musical is that tension between what's out and what's in. And so immediately I was like, yeah, this is a musical, and I know exactly how I'd want to make this.
Yeah. Was there, would you say the paintings more inspired you for like the sound and tone, or was there something in Tamara's own life that you really wanted to bring to life in terms of the like aesthetic of the sound here?
Well, the paintings to me are her life. So when I saw those paintings and I saw this sort of like metallic looking hair and just this almost machine like AI quality. I mean, it 14 years ago when we started this, we weren't talking about AI really, but we were talking about machines and we were talking about the idea of like perfection and can humanity be perfected and I immediately was like, oh, it's metal. There's like a metal sound, and it almost wants to feel like like a house beat, kind of like we're in this sort of club, this machine made sound, um, up against this very real human lifelike quality. I knew that it wanted to be this push pull between the machine and the human. And of course, the more I studied about Tamara, the more I realized that was sort of the battle she was in. That's what's coming through in the paintings. This woman versus machine.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it was very quick and very visceral and sort of something that we've really stuck to throughout the development process.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, when you said her art is her life, it made me think of Woman Is, which is such a great moment of self-discovery for her with her, views of beauty wrapped up in her sexuality. It seems everything is tied together that way. And I think that was the first song that you wrote for this show. Why did that song come out of you first?
Well, I guess my art is my life too. So woman is Matt Gould. I I think that that song started with about 20 pages of woman is this, woman is that Carson had kind of typed up. And I don't know, I guess I think that there was something I think I was really fascinated by just the idea of like of what is feminine. What does it mean to be woman? What is that thing? What part of me is the feminine? And so much in Carson's writing that was like woman is powerful versus woman is beautiful, which is the way that so often we talk about women in our culture. They're beautiful, they're pretty, they're soft, they're all these things. And in the lyric was just like, I want to feel your soft lips, your sharp teeth, feel your nails in my flesh. Just all of this sort of imagery that was so hard and like biting. And I was drawn to sort of this push pull between sort of what we think of as feminine, what we think of as woman often, or at least as a man, what I think of as feminine and woman in our culture, and then what the inner life of this particular woman actually was. And that was thrilling to me, and also sort of I don't know, like against the rules to me. I think our show has been very divisive. There are people who like love the show and they're like, this is my safe space, this is my shit. And then there are people who are like, I don't like it, I don't like this show. And I think that in part that's because Carson's writing, Rachel's direction is sort of like undercutting what we talk about is acceptable for a woman in our culture. And the show and the character essentially says, fuck you, I'm not playing by those rules. I want to do what men do. I want to be able to be as big and bold and out of the frame as every man has ever been. And I think still in this day and age, people don't like that. People don't like what's different. They don't want something new. We still want to keep our ladies in a box. And that's not what that song was. That song was out of the box from the beginning.
And it's very decidedly queer as a show, I think. I don't know that I've ever seen a bisexual lead character or any character in a musical like this on Broadway that's so open and honest with that portrayal. Was that something you were thinking about alongside the woman is aspect of it?
Yes, I'm gay as hell, and I grew up gay as hell. And I think that we're living in a time where especially young people are not sort of subscribing to these ideas about how you have to be and what sexuality is and what even what our sexes are, that there is just this whole panorama of different things. So I think as we were building the show with Rachel and with Raja, there was always this idea that it was like, it's got to be, I mean, like literally we're in the recording studio right now and I'm saying to the singers, like, it's got to be gayer. It's got to be gayer. Like, yes, it is decidedly queer because like all of the people working on it are queer. And because we're in a day and age where even on Broadway, which is theoretically this sort of bastion of just like open-minded, we're still always 20 years behind, where the culture is sort of pushing. And it was important to me that this be a story that felt like home to me, to my body, to Carson's body, a bisexual woman. And to all the young people who are coming in and going like, this show is my safe space. This is where I've been waiting for this. This is my shit. So yeah. And it's also something that there are people who don't like it. They don't like that because it's not what we're used to. So come on in or don't.
Well, I know, the people I think who are liking it are really loving Eden Espinosa's portrayal of this character. And you need someone like her, I think, to sing this material. Her voice is what it's made for, I think. How did having her involved kind of shape the evolution of this music?
Eden's a beast. Eden is not 23 years old. I think she speaks very openly about the fact that this is a full-grown woman in a full-grown woman's body, singing the way that a full-grown woman sings. And I think when she came on board and it was clear that the piece was being tailored around her and around Amber Iman, it was important to me that we explore all the facets of these full-grown women's voices, which is also horrifying and scary because because there's nothing left, there's no leaf left unturned. We're going to get into all the highs and all the lows, and it's not, and the score is not written to be difficult or tricky. It's just written to let the actors live in every single part of their bodies and every single part of their experiences, and in part, you know, sort of egged on by Eden, who was like, give me more, I want to go farther, I don't want to sit back. And so to me, I mean, Eden is up there playing what I believe is certainly right now the most difficult role for a woman on Broadway right now. And again, I don't, that's not a, I'm patting myself on the back for it. That's just because like that is what she demanded. And that is what the character demanded. And so she's a legend. She's amazing. And she's my friend, and I fucking love her, and I love watching her do it.
Yeah. Well, I would love to know a little bit more about creating that role and creating the music behind it, because I'm always fascinated when there are writing partners for a musical and the collaboration process behind that. So could you talk a little bit, did you and Carson have a specific process of your collaboration, and did it differ from how you normally work?
I think every collaborator is a little different, just like every lover you have is a little different. You know, my writing partner is kind of like, in this case, my wife or my sister. Like, we are in this game for 14 years, going back and forth, you know, riding all the highs and lows of life and work. And generally the way we work is that one of us, usually she starts, she'll sort of, or together we'll sort of go, we need to write a song for this moment in the show that's this moment. It's about the moment when she sees this woman walking down the street and she's struck by this just overwhelming beauty. And Carson will go away and sort of ideate, you know, 10, 15, 20 pages of text. And then I'll set all the text up on the piano, and I'll just start tinkering, and I'll, you know, I'll wait for my eye to kind of find a piece where I'm like, there's the hook. I will paint her. I will paint her. The subtext really being, I will make love to her. I will, except, you know, even more. And that's where we start. And then we're going, okay, so that's the hook. So now how do we get there? Beauty on the root of faubourg, man, stop. Okay, now we need a second verse that sort of matches the first verse. And so then so it's a lot of back and forth. I'll do a pass, send it to Carson. She'll go, can it be this? Will these words fit? And then I'll do another pass. So it's just a back and forth. It's a very sort of organic process where we just go back and forth until we're both like, that's it. That's the song.
Does that make it hard when you have so much material, I'm sure, over the years to kill your darlings if you know a song or lyrics need to be cut?
Yeah, but also I think the advantage of having 14 years, which I hope I hope I'm never working on something else for 14 years, God help me. But the advantage is that there's just a backlog of things. So when we're in the room trying to figure out, okay, like there's a hole here, or okay, how do we get from point A to point B? There's just a whole backlog of material that we can pull. So something that might have gotten cut, suddenly we realize, oh, what if we repurpose that here in this way? And I mean, that is the advantage of just having years and years and years of experience together. And in so many ways, that's been just deeply gratifying. Something that we thought went away 10 years ago, all of a sudden, it's like, that's it. That's what was missing. And we needed that. Or a song that we threw out and replaced with another song because the new song was just more to the point. We realized the initial sort of impulse for that original song was actually better, but this new song just does a better job of getting to the point. So we take what we learned in the new song and put it in the old song, and then bring the old song back in a new way. That's happened several times, and that's also deep. It's like, oh my God, we finally got that song back that we thought was dead. We finally got Unseen back, and it's clear now, and we know why it has to be there. So it's just you don't really kill your darlings, at least in my experience. Sometimes you put one darling down, or you let one darling inform another darling, and you have a new darling. It's just like love, honey. It's just like love, you know? I have my old lover, and he taught me things. And now I have my new lover, and hopefully I won't make the same mistakes with the new lover that I made with the old lover. And like, but they're all sort of alive in you, in me. And that's the beauty of growing up and hopefully getting more skillful at the craft.
Yeah. Well, after that, period of doing all that for 14 years, you open on Broadway. You have a fabulous opening night and red carpet. I saw all your pictures. Everyone looked amazing.
Thank you.
What goes after that amount of time? What goes through your head that night when it's finally opening? Lights come up on the show, and what are you feeling?
Grief and gratitude. Grief and gratitude. I grieve the fact that uh, our little girl is all grown up and driving off to college on her own. And her mom and I are standing in the driveway, watching her drive away, and just thinking to ourselves, is she ready? Did we prepare her? Did we give her everything she needs? Will the world be kind to her? Will the men treat her with respect and dignity? Will the women be gracious with her? Um, that's scary. I mean, I'm a parent. I have two little boys, and it's scary just to think of like how they uh, have to just be in the world without us at some point. But also deeply grateful because I'm living inside a dream, and I'm living inside of something that so many people want and so few of us get, especially to create a new work that is so gay, so queer, that is about a woman with a group of people that I just fucking love. Um, it's rare, and to hear the way that like people, the audiences are responding, um, which is with like joy and elation, and like so many people are like, "Oh my god, we've been waiting for this." That is a thrill beyond thrills, and something that I know is rare in this life. So grief and gratitude.
Well, I think many Broadway audiences are certainly feeling the gratitude as well for the show to be here. So thank you, Matt, for sitting down with me. And if you're out there watching, make sure you stick with us the rest of this season and go see Lempicka. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.